Hello everyone. Good morning. I think it's still morning. Joyful Hermit here. Christian Hermit. An imperfect hermit, but Christian. That's what we are. Anyway, I'm out here with the puppies. My cousin called this morning. I had texted her. She was slipping. She has done so well being so patient and good with her mother, who can be peevish, yes, in younger years could be, but lovely person. And my cousin does so well handling it, but my aunt is at the point now where she can't really eat. She does not want to go to the feeding room and be fed, she realized, and she was at that point. So she sits, I guess, in the dining room at this healthcare place. At least she gets out of her cell a lot. My mother couldn't even get out of her cell anymore because she had pulmonary fibrosis and would cough, and other paying clients complained, so she had to be isolated in her room. She could no longer even eat with others. It was so sad for all the money she was paying back then, and it's more money now, like 3 times more that place charges. So anyway, it's sad, but I'm just happy that at some point my aunt, she's 102 and a half, will be in heaven or in the other world, eternal life, and finishing up whatever fine-tuning God needs of her for divine union, to be pure, to have pure love. And to be united with pure love. We have a little child across the street barking, crying. And Lovey, my dogs are concerned. They are not used to little people. They find these little children very fascinating and want to play with them. And of course, I don't dare ever let these dogs off their leashes, because Lovey would be leaping and having fun. And the mother of those children is such a good mother. When they're out playing, she goes out and plays with them, and just, of course, I was in bed. That was my mothering. I was in bed, and we would do things in bed. But when they played, they'd have to be out on their own, and I'd have to trust they would be okay. And most of the time they were. If there was a little accident, one of them would come running. So look at death here. Isn't death beautiful? I noticed this yesterday morning, and I made another bouquet of these huge leaves because jumbo ones from the top were coming down. Lovey, no barky. They're just little children. They're going away. They're going away, and one of them was crying, was fussing. One of them was fussing, something that wanted a toy or wanted something special. So that's what happens when you're little and you can't communicate well, like you guys. When you want to communicate, you bark. Lovey, no barky, or we go inside. Anyway, I'm going to prune some, but oh my goodness. Some other dog has peed on that bush, and these dogs each morning are frantic to get out here and sniff it anew. It is the best thing. They just love this. Pee on that little beautiful little conifer. A little pumilla pine, I think that one is. Pinus pumilla. So I figured putting it there. Up there, that one is a little too far, that conifer right over in there. But dogs walking along here, this is a prime pee target for them, male dogs. So it's, these two drag me across the yard for it every morning. I should have been prepared. But this tree, I'm just fascinated. The leaves come off, the last of any. Look at the Acer trident, the weeping trident maple over there. All the leaves about have come off. And some of the new branches of that, that wild growth that I get late in the summer on these trees. There's one prigging out of that little. I'll just clip those off, and so I have strings around that because I want to keep it contained. It was getting too wild, And I want to keep it in a nice, neat little oval, a little tube or something looking, not taking over the whole space. So that's why I put a string around in the spring, and I think I'll leave it all winter to train it. But the one out there, that's a new wild growth that came, and there's another one with a green leaf on it sticking out that is a new sprig that I'll clip off. So anyway, this is, Lovey is watching. Oh, see somebody walking across the street with a phone. It's gonna bark. Lovey wants attention, so he barks for it. Anyway, look at this. Isn't that beautiful? That sensu. Oh, no, wait. That's Syrian. That's Syrian. Sensu's a little different. And this Liliane is getting a little large for that space, so I'm going to have to decide what to do. Keep it really pruned out and trim down, or move it and put something more diminutive in that spot. It's getting a little, so I'll have to decide. There's that dead umbrella tree back there I'm going to take out today. I'm working hard as the old body can work. Excuse me, I've got to get my leash is untangling me. But I wanted to bring the death, how beautiful is the process of dying. Just a reminder. I never appreciated fall like I did yesterday morning when I had that great enlightenment of just how beautiful it is, how gradual. It's actually very gradual, maybe even more gradual than spring, than birth. We rush into birth and life and summertime, and then fall comes, our dying time comes, and we don't realize it's actually very gradual, graceful, slow, and we sort of make it what we want. All these leaves are from that tree over there that a neighbor planted right on the edge, but it's not see these Japanese maples planted on the edge. Their leaves are, other than this big one, that's why I planted this one in the middle, but the other ones are dissectums, and they just crumble. Even that trident maple, the leaves, other than that one big green one there, that's an outlier leaf for that tree. That's why those branches have to come off. They are rogue branches that are not the true tree. But yes, so where we plant things, but I'll get them up. I think my lawnmower can suck up most of those. And otherwise I leave them because they're good for the ground. Inconveniences I am learning to make as positives, and as God's helping me. But my cousin was tempted to label and judge her mother because she sits in the dining room now and eats ice cream with a fork and sips on hot cocoa. That is her diet now. And I said, let her be, because my cousin said stubborn, and then I said, well, we don't know what all is involved and what she's going through. You know, she's going through a lot with, the nurse told my cousin that one day evening she went in, or middle of the night, to check on something, and my aunt was crying and saying, I just want to go to heaven. I just want to go to heaven. Who could blame her? She's led a beautiful life. She has given to the community. She had a terrible situation with her first husband, and her son dying, and her daughter losing her leg, and health issues with her daughter. And she remarried a nice man that didn't do much, but she took care of him and enjoyed doing that, enjoyed taking care of him. And he was good to her, though. He was a nice person. And they went places together, and he was loyal and faithful, and he adored her. So, you know, we put up with things. Not all men were trained to do much around the house. So, or are inclined that way. So we have to make accommodations. But and appreciate the good. Appreciate the good. So it's the death process, So, but pride. Then was the next thing. And I wrote back and I said, I have such regrets for all my criticism. I am so critical. I'm sensitive and I notice things. And I can be very critical, and that easily turns to judgment, labeling and judging. And I said, don't go that way. You have been such a beautiful soul all through, and just keep up the good work. So she did call, because I wrote, trying to inspire, and also giving suggestions on getting her mother's mind off onto future or present, or even things that my mother did that I thought were lovely. And yes, I was the one that did the work then. I didn't mind. It was good to have my mother thinking of beautiful thoughts. She was bedbound and she couldn't see much. She could hear, thankfully. My aunt is losing her hearing, has lost her hearing for the most part. Can't see well, but has her mind. My mom had her mind, but my mom was 18 years younger when she died. So, and wasn't ready to die either in any other way other than her lungs. Her lungs got terrible pulmonary fibrosis. So, and she had never been a smoker. So, who knows? Asbestos, probably exposed to asbestos when she was a child, and it remained latent until she was 84. And then she went 2 years. But my mother one day says, thinking about lovely people in her life, especially at her retirement area where she'd had to leave, where she loved living, and come back to the Midwest where I was. And so I could help her more. And so she wanted me to write postcards to all these people that she thought about, who were so kind and good, and she would dictate to me. I would write thoughts that she had. She would find things that she remembered that they did or said, or their nature that was so positive about them and what she so appreciated. And we mailed them off, and that, I thought that was a great thing. And also I would talk about my mom. I would talk about heaven and my death, what dying is like. I told my mother before a couple times, but it's just me, see. So when I tell people, they don't, and they know me, it's, that's her again, oh yeah, she talks like that, And so my mom, it never registered. But when her time was nigh, it registered more. And then I introduced the idea, the reality that we have a guardian angel, and the guardian angel will help us through, and will, is with us all through life, and will deliver us to heaven, and walk with us all the way. But my mother started having a couple of dreams. I would say, well, Mom, ask at night, ask God some questions, and ask if you have a guardian angel, and ask what the name is, and ask other things you want to know. My mother had a great fear that when she would die, there would just be nothing more. But look at this tree. The leaves will be gone. Maybe a couple be left, or maybe on that big one over there, probably. This one might totally come down because it's newer, younger, and a different variety of maple by far. And it'll never get too much. It'll get a little larger than that, but it'll have its stopping growth. It's not going to get huge. It won't overcrowd this front yard whatsoever. I am going to remove that lower left branch, I think, in the spring maybe. I sort of like it there because it's off shape a little, but most people like shape, balance. And maybe that would help me to be a little more balanced. But it's, when the leaves are all gone, it looks dead as dead, there's still so much life in that tree. And even in a dead tree, oh, just seeing a dead, the bark usually flakes a little bit, and the color of the trunk goes a little more ashen. But it's still a piece of beauty, a work of art, to see a tree like that standing, or even fall into the ground, or the dead logs have interest, and we can sit on them, or little children can stand and walk along them and leap off. So they still have a positive purpose, an enjoyment, an interest. They're interesting. So, there's more. There's more than death. There's more after seeming death. For all of nature, like I mentioned the other day, I've been thinking about all of the energy and love that's within these living plants and trees, even the grass. And when it dies, I mean really dies, and doesn't return anymore, like this tree eventually will have I think its lifespan is maybe 30 years or something, typical age. Or Japanese maples don't have as long a lifespan generally. This isn't a Japanese maple. It's a different form of maple, but it's not the typical large maple tree. So, but there will be a lifespan for these things, these living trees and plants. And what then? But it's still life and energy. And I keep thinking, that energy and that love is going to be out there in the universe. And maybe that was the air that I was breathing when I was dying, or had died, and was flying through the universe and was able to breathe. This pure, clear, amazing air I was able to breathe with my inner lungs, my inner senses. And maybe the whole atmosphere is made up, made up of the essence and the life that had been of all the living plants and animals of earth, all their love and all their beauty and all their essences is out there around us forever, eternally. What we breathe here and what we will breathe in heaven. So who knows, but there's a mystery and a glory in the dying process that we shouldn't overlook and should really appreciate and look forward to. Fall is really a forgotten and maybe even resented season of the year, and our death times is sort of maybe resented, but it's a glory, isn't it? Look how beautiful. And even the conifers, see, they go through something in the fall. They alter, their little cones change, they start to get dark and dead looking. And I was going to show you this over here. Come on, puppies. Let's look at this beautiful death looking. And they're not those. See, that's the amazing. See those wild little sprouts coming out. I'm gonna keep this tree formed. That one over there, this one that's gone. See, that's just an odd branch. But in the spring, these will bud out a little bit along the edges. I think they will, yes, indeed. I don't know, that one has a race to it, the way that weaves out, but I want to be able to walk into here, or whoever's here. And I think I may move this anemone. Still a white bloom down there. Look at that. Life being sheltered in there from the cold. But I want to have space for the red bench in here. And then maybe move this. And then over to here. and move that little conifer that's on the ground that has struggled down here. It doesn't like a lot of sun, but some, and it doesn't like a lot of water, so it has its conditions. Maybe not quite enough water there, because those needles should be a little more profuse. Although granted, that little white sparkler down there, that little thing nearly did die. And of course I wanted to keep it alive. But see some of those things sticking out, and the big leaves on that is not natural to this tree. They're small leaves. I can find a small, up there, there's still some dead ones. Not the little, you can see a little leaf up there amidst all the little seed pods. One leaf or two leaves up in that little grouping. So that's the size, maybe like 1.5 inches. Not 3 to 4 inch size. Here's some down here that are even 4 to 5 inches. So those have to be clipped out. They are abnormal, and they are not, they don't have to be, but otherwise they'll take over the tree and it will no longer be the little leafed trident weeping maple anymore. It will be an aberration of it. See, on the other side there's several of those branches, so I need to do that today before the leaves leave, and I don't know what branches need to be pruned away, and I'll prune them way up to the nub on those. Well, within 1/2 inch to 1 inch. I don't want the other branch, the good branches, or the normal healthy branches, the typical or true to the tree branches to go bad, to die off if they're cut too close to the good branches. Now, why, I think I've explained before, it's called a reversion. Why that happens is originally they had to start the trident maple, a new variety, years ago it was, but they used a rootstock on it. They used a rootstock from a regular maple, or a larger leafed maple. And that rootstock is always down there in the ground, and is always a factor and tries to make itself known. So it will start to revert the tree back to that rootstock, rather than, and so you just have to keep clipping the reversions out, clip them out when you see them. The coleuses are spent. This had trouble here. I don't know why. It was gorgeous in the spring, but all during the summer it had all this death. This echinacea, not echinacea, Heucheria, heuchera, lime green heuchera. So I've got 2 things over there in the corner to move out of here. And this is just an example of, that was a gorgeous lime green leafed full moon maple. And it was the big hand leaf palmatum kind. And maybe it's even another name for it. Anyway, unusual leaf, lime green. It's the first time I've had success with one making it, because it likes this shade in here just right. This is perfect lighting for it, obviously. And it looks deader than dead now, but what beauty in it. It's not really dead. It's going to keep living, like us. And it's amazing how some of these trees, like the ginkgos, keep their leaves on longer, turn yellow and gold. And other trees, that one over there, the orange dream, is very bright colored, very pretty. And still, because we're having such unusually good weather, getting some new bright green shoots on it. So, Virgin Mary, thank you for this day. And holding infant Jesus, who grew to a man and is God eternal. So God bless you all. Appreciate the fall. Appreciate the dying process. And I think let people die in the way that they are determined to. give little suggestions. I told my cousin just mention what her sister thought to do, little things, and how she found out she had a guardian angel named Phyllis. And that was a big breakthrough for my mother, because she was convinced it was a big Catholic thing, big Catholic fraud thing. And she found out no. And it was positive. It wasn't a bad thing at all either. And it was reality and helpful to her, because she saw her angel walking with her up this hill, which was getting steeper. It was earlier on, before her suffering got very, very bad. So I'm reminded today to call upon my Beth and help me to live right and to do right. And glad my cousin is going to be on extra guard against making labels or judgments of her mother, because we don't know what it's like. And my cousin then did right and say, well, the only thing my mother has control of anymore is basically what she eats. And she can't eat much. She has swallow issues. But, and I don't blame her for not wanting to go to the feeding room. It would be so sad and so pathetic seeing the others there barely able to eat, food dribbling out of their mouths, heads hung down. My aunt needs to be in as much positive as possible, even though that's her reality. She's not in that point. She just has swallow troubles. But my cousin said she'd be horrified if she could see herself, and she would be. That's how we'll all get. It's very humbling. And maybe for those who aren't ready for that kind of humbling, it's best for them not to see it through other people, or to know. I guess she puts her head back and just burps loudly in the dining room and belches deep. But that's part of her trying to swallow, and it's oh, my aunt wouldn't know. She was very proper and very lovely, and liked being lovely and proper too. She was attached to that. So no, who are we to force anything upon anyone? It reminds me again of the importance of choosing and planning in advance how we want to be when we're dying. And I think it's as well that my aunt just eat what she likes. It's not going to matter that much. She's not exerting energy. She's otherwise in bed. She can't walk. So they wheel her there. But I told my cousin I hope she has tiny marshmallows and whipped cream with her hot chocolate. That would be my choice. So there's my big precious blood in the driveway. I keep hoping I'll get the garage emptied out enough of construction things to get it inside, and so my neighbor doesn't have to look at it, but she says she doesn't mind. And that the neighbor across the street, their son moved in with them, and his truck's parked out in front at night too. So I said, you've got double trucks and one down the street there. So God bless the people who are tolerant, huh? That's an extra special gift. Most of us aren't so tolerant. So later, everyone.